Hi there, and welcome to Ian's Engage channel. I'm Ian. Okay, in this video I'm going to try and build one of these. It's a Peco 10-foot Butterley Steel Mineral Wagon in BR bauxite that came pre-built for the price of around £9. I've been wondering what the Peco kits of the equivalent wagons are like for a while, so thought I'd give one a try. Now, this is the same wagon, in kit form, but costs around half the price. So well worth investigating. So what's in the box? We'll get rid of the packaging first, and this is what is revealed. There are very few parts, so it should be easy to put together. There's the chassis, the body moulding, a weight for the chassis, and a bag of bits. The bits in the bag are the wheels, the couplers, and a couple of securing nuts, more of which later. There are also some instructions, which I'll obviously take a cursory glance of. The first thing to do is insert the chassis weight into the chassis, which seems like an eminently sensible thing to do. Once we've got into the bag of parts and rescued the wheels, we can identify the couplings and insert them into the chassis. The couplings simply drop into the pockets at either side of the chassis, although they do seem awfully loose-fitting. I was also a bit confused about which way around the couplings should be inserted, so I checked which way around they were fixed to the pre-built model. Next, the wagon body was placed onto the chassis and all was going well. Then came those two tiny nuts. I said we'd get back to them. I had absolutely no idea how I was going to fix them to the bottom of the wagon body, as they were minuscule. I examined the pre-built model again, but it was constructed slightly differently, so didn't really offer any inspiration. The two nuts needed to be fitted to the two threaded prongs that came through the base of the wagon, but they were so tiny, and there was hardly any of the prong protruding through the base, so it was going to be a very fiddly job to achieve. I ended up using some long-nose pliers to pick up the nut and held it in place while I rotated the wagon in order to fix the nut to the tiny prong. This was all going great until both of the nuts fell off. I decided that this had happened because the threaded prongs weren't protruding far enough through the chassis, and that this was because there was a piece of plastic burr on the bottom of the wagon that needed to be removed, as it seemed to be fouling on the chassis weight. So, out came the modelling knife, and a bit of plastic shaving took place. Back to square one then. Now that I knew what I was doing, I quickly put everything back together and was soon in a position to have another go at securing the nuts. This time things went much better, and I made sure to give the wagon a good shake after attaching the first nut, just to make sure it was firmly attached. As you can see, the second nut went on equally as well, and another shake of the wagon confirmed this. The final act of the build was to attach the wheels to the chassis. These went in with a bit of gentle force, being careful not to push the sides of the chassis out too far. There was actually a satisfying click once they located properly into the wheel hubs. Here I'm checking that they run freely by giving them a quick spin, which they do despite being made of plastic, and the same again for the second set of wheels. A quick roll along the cutting mat and it was off. Another quick check that the couplings were working, and I was a happy bunny. Now, although I've got the correct coloured BR bauxite paint to colour the wagon, I don't yet have an airbrush, so I'm going to wait until I get one before I have a good painting, as I don't want to cover the wagon in brush marks. Anyway, I think it's a pretty neat little kit really, and looking at the side-by-side images here, it seems to be very similar in detail to the pre-built model, which, of course, is twice the price. It also seems to run rather well in this rake of pre-built wagons. I definitely think they're worth a go if, like me, you're trying to build up a decent sized wagon collection on a budget. So, that just leaves me to say that if you've got any hints, tips, useful tools or techniques to pass on to a beginner in Engage modelling, or if you simply want to say hello, then please do so in the comment section. Anything and everything you've got to say will be greatly appreciated. In the meantime, thanks ever so much for watching. Hopefully I'll have another update soon. Bye.